Hello and welcome back to my FPL channel. I of course am the FPL Train, and in this video what we're going to be doing is going through a wildcard team ahead of game week 6. Reason for doing this wildcard video is just because I know quite a few people are looking at doing the wildcard this week. I myself haven't activated it yet, but I am contemplating it just because I've had a shocking start to the season. Like most people are going to activate the wildcard. They've had probably a bad start to the season and they really want to get rid of quite a few players. Like I have in my mind at the minute, I've got a few players that I really need to get rid of, and I don't really have the transfers to do it. So I either take a hit, a big hit, or a wild card. Yet to do it yet, but this team that I've got to show you, I do actually like the looks of it. So it is something I'm really considering about doing, but I haven't, like I said, activated it just yet. So we're going to talk about the goalkeepers first. So in goal, we've got Flecken and we've got Bentley. Now obviously Bentley at Wolves ain't ever going to play. He's not the number 1 goalkeeper at Wolves. He ain't the number 2. Oh, he might be the number 2 goalkeeper. But anyway, he's not going to be playing at all. He's not playing a minute, so I'm not expecting him to play a minute. The reason why I've got him, he's 4 million and he's dirt cheap. The obvious guy who's going to be starting is Flecken of Brentford. Reason why I've gone for Flecken, he's 4.5 million, so he's one of the cheaper options. So that's a bonus clearly. And his fixtures going forward, look, they're not actually for Brentford too bad. So we've got West Ham and Wolves the next 2 games. So that's 2 home fixtures coming up, which is obviously an advantage there. Their away fixture is away at Man United. Man United, I don't know what to make of them, to be honest. So I don't think it is that bad of a fixture for Brentford. Brentford usually they do quite well when they play Man United. So that's also probably a positive, I'd say. Then their 3rd home fixture in 4 games is against Ipswich. So again, that is a pretty tasty fixture. And then after that, they've got the likes of Fulham, Bournemouth, Everton, and Leicester City. So right all the way up to game week 13 where they play Leicester, they've got a pretty decent run, to be fair. So that takes you, game week 13, so game week 14 is December. So that's a pretty decent run there. So that is why I've gone Flecken. Obviously, there's other options to go for. But for me, I think Flecken, he's 10% owned currently right now. So, I mean, he's not the highest owned goalkeeper. I mean, quite a few people are going for him. That's why it's 10%. But, you know, I think he's a better option than probably going for a Raya, who's 5.6 million. Yeah, Raya's probably got the best defence. Well, they are the best defence, and they've got good fixtures coming up. But you save, 1.1 million if you go for Flecken ahead of Raya, which I think is, decent. I think the other best option probably to go for around the similar price is going to be Sanchez of Chelsea. But for me, I've just gone for Flecken. So with the 5-man defence, first up in here, I've got Aina of Nottingham Forest. Reason why I've gone for him is, I did recommend him in my transfer plans video, literally the other week, and he literally just scored 0 points. So he's not the best, but before that, he's doing quite well. He got an 8-pointer, 9-pointer, and his fixtures going forward are still pretty decent. 4 of the next fixtures are tasty. You got the likes of Fulham, Palace, Leicester, and West Ham. So we've got some decent fixtures coming up, and he's only 4.5 minutes. So for that Chelsea fixture in game week 7, you could drop him, which I probably would because he is going to be away. So I think he's a pretty decent pick, and he's got off to a pretty decent start, as has Forest in general. William Saliba alongside him. Now, I felt like I had to have an Arsenal defender in my team here. If you're wildcarding, definitely go for at least one Arsenal defender. Obviously, the only choices I'd recommend are either going for Gabriel or Saliba, just because those are the 2, looks like anyway, nailed on for Arsenal. The others you could easily see get rotated. So go for either Saliba or Gabriel. I've got Saliba here literally just because he's 0.1 million cheaper than Gabriel. So, it does make all the difference in the end. So, yeah, he's 0.1 million cheaper. And his next 3 fixtures are literally piece of cake for him. Leicester, Southampton, Bournemouth. I'm expecting 3 clean sheets in the next 3. Yes, afterwards, 9, 10, 11 is Liverpool, Newcastle, Chelsea, which is not going to be that easy at all. But Arsenal have the best defence in the league. So, I think they'll get a clean sheet against, not Arsenal, they are Arsenal, against Newcastle and maybe even Chelsea. Liverpool, I don't think so, but those 2, I think they can. So you've got to have at least one Arsenal defender in your team there. I've also got, Davis of Ipswich, who's actually in my current team right now. But, you know, although the disappointment in the last game against Southampton where they did concede, which I kind of figured it would because it was a massive game for both teams. Before that, you know, he got a 6-pointer against, you know, Brighton after that 0-0 draw, and then he also got a 7-pointer against Fulham where he obviously got the assist and a couple of bonus points. And, you know, I've watched him this season a few games and he's looked pretty decent. Now, game week 6 ain't great, it's Villa at home. But after that, you got the likes of West Ham, Everton, Brentford and Leicester. So those 4 fixtures are pretty tasty. And again, he's another 4.5 million player. So game week 6, you probably put him on your bench for Villa. And then game week 7, you bring him in. So like I said with Aina, you know, take him out, put him in game week 6, take him out on 7, and bring Davis back in TT. And this makes perfect sense. So another cheap option at the back, but I think it works out quite well. Konate is my Liverpool defender who I've gone for. I felt like I needed a Liverpool defender. Now, I could actually afford in this team Trent Alexander-Arnold. I will say I had 2.9 million in the bank. So I could actually put in Trent Alexander-Arnold in this team. Now, the reason why I haven't is because after the Wolves in game week 6 and Palace in 7, they've got Chelsea, Arsenal, Brighton and Aston Villa. That is a pretty bad run for Liverpool, to be fair. And I'm not so confident they're going to keep a clean sheet in any of those games. So the reason why I've gone for Konate, should I say, in this team is I'd have him for Wolves, but I might get rid of him after that for a little bit. And then obviously, because of that extra money, you could look all the way going forward. I mean, game week 15 is probably when I'd next look at bringing the Liverpool players. Yes, they got Southampton 12. But 13th of game week 13, should say, they got Man City and Newcastle. So the reason why I've got Konate is just the fixture looks nice next, but then afterwards you'd either leave him on the bench or you go for somebody else. And then the last option is Pedro Porro. Not the best start, to be fair. The last 3 games he's been pretty awful in terms of points wise. First 2 games, you know, he got 15 points in 2 games. And you're thinking, great, perfect option. Last 3 games he's got you 5, so it's not as good. Next 3 fixtures, I mean, United and Brighton away aren't great. West Ham at home and Crystal Palace away. So 3 away fixtures next 4 isn't great for Spurs, but he's so attacking, the Spurs manager. Pedro Porro could, even if you don't get a clean sheet, he could get you a goal or even an assist. So, I mean, obviously in the first game week against Leicester, didn't get the clean sheet, but he managed to get a goal, which I was buzzing about that. The only clean sheet they've actually had this season has been against Everton, who are poor. So hopefully they can get a bit better on the clean sheet front, or at least get some more goals and assists, Pedro Porro. But yeah, that is the back 5. So pretty decent back 5, I'd say. No Man City defenders in here. Now, I do like Man City's run going forward. You could obviously go for Ederson, who's 5.5 million, but I don't really fancy it myself. But the fixtures are really nice. But the problem is, Kyle Walker's been rotated a bit, which is a problem. Stones is getting rotated. Ruben Diaz missed, not the game just gone against Arsenal, but the game against Brentford. Akanji can get dropped. It's just, Guardiola's been dropped. There's not an option where I can say they're going to definitely start. So that's why I didn't go for any Man City defenders. So then, with my midfield, it's a lot different, I reckon, than most people who wildcarding ahead of this game week. Look, there's no Liverpool midfielders in here whatsoever. Now, I could get in a Luis Diaz if I wanted to, but when I look at their fixtures, they're not great at all for a while. And yes, they could easily score in all of these. Well, they will probably score in all of these games, but I'm not so confident in with the likes of Luis Diaz. Maybe Salah would do well, but he's 12.8 million now. He's really expensive. For me, it's just a case of either you go Haaland or you go Salah. Haaland's obviously smashing in a minute, but Salah's not exactly doing too bad. Yes, the last 2 games he hasn't scored goals, but he's got obviously an assist against Bournemouth. And obviously he did smash against United, which kind of expected. And the first 3 games he was quality. It's just the last 2 have been a bit slow, but the fixtures are just so difficult. Well, not easy for Liverpool. And for a 12.8 million midfielder, I want all green. So basically, I'd want Mo Salah for game week 18 onwards, because those fixtures are looking good. So that is why I've not gone for Mo Salah in this team. Instead, though, I have 1 premium midfielder. So there's no Cole Palmer in this team either. And that is, of course, Saka. Now, the reason why I've got Saka is next 3 fixtures: Leicester, Southampton, Bournemouth. He'll absolutely smash it. He's got an assist every game. I'm sure he's going to get goals to his game very shortly. So that is why I've gone for Saka. And it's also great the fact that I do have obviously this money in the bank, 2.9 million, which means I can actually afford to get in Mohamed Salah. So if it's not something I'm happy with having Saka, I can just go, you know what, quick swap, bring in Salah, and there you go, done, job done. So that's why I've got the money in the bank. Also, alongside him is obviously Smith Rowe. Storming start to the season by Smith Rowe. And his minutes are going up and up each game week. I mean, it did go down in game week 2. No, actually, sorry. I completely read that wrong. They've gone up every game week. So he started on 63 minutes to his last game week. Now he's playing 83 minutes. So that proves how much more, well, how fitter and more important he is becoming for Fulham. Great season so far for him, 2 goals, 1 assist, and he's only 5.8 million now. I was going to say 6 because I still own him, but he's 5.8 million, so he's still an absolute bargain, really. And his fixtures as well going forward, I mean, look, not the easiest after this game week. He's got Man City in 7, and obviously Villa in 8. But apart from that, I think they're pretty decent. You've got Forest coming up, and then obviously after those 2 difficult fixtures, he's got the likes of Everton, Brentford, Palace, and of course Wolves, which is a decent run to be fair for Fulham. So I think for the amount he costs, he's worth having in your team. And Boomu, I mean, this guy, I think he's going to be going on fire very shortly. I mean, he's had a good start to the season anyway. He scored 4 goals already this season. No Tony anymore, no Weezer for 2 months. He's going to be starting. He's 100% going to be on penalties. And look at the fixtures he's got: West Ham, Wolves, Man United, Ipswich, Fulham, Bournemouth, Everton, Leicester. I mean, my word, he's on a cracking run to December. So yeah, I feel like he's one of the must-haves to have. He's 7.2 million at the minute, so I've already got him in my team. So 7.1 million he cost me. So for those of you looking at getting obviously him, it's going to cost you probably a bit more, but worth having. Now I've got Mavididi in here. It's a bit of a gamble. Look, it's just knee-jerk because he's got 2 goals in 2 games. You could think that. I watched Mavididi a lot last season for Leicester in the Championship, and I thought he was quality. I was very, very shocked when obviously the manager Steve Cooper decided to drop him and start other players instead. I couldn't believe it. I mean, that Divock, I mean, my word, he's a bang average player. He shouldn't have been starting ahead of Mavididi anyway. So now that he's starting now, think about 2 games he has started, he scored both games. So I expect him to start going forward. Look, next fixture's Arsenal. Not expecting a goal there. But after that, Bournemouth, Southampton, Forest, Ipswich. Massive games coming up for Leicester City. They have to win these games if they want to have any chance of staying up. Even if they don't win, I got a good feeling about him going forward, especially if he does continue to start for Leicester. But yeah, next 4 of the 5 games are, really tasty. And for 5.3 million, it might be worth just going for him. And then that brings me to my last player, and that's Jarrod Bowen. Not much talk about Jarrod Bowen. He's 6.1% owned currently right now at 7.5 million. And he's had a pretty decent start, to be fair. I mean, West Ham in general have had a crap start, let's face it. 1 win in the first 5 fixtures, which is dire. We all knew they shouldn't have got rid of David Moyes. But West Ham wanted beautiful football and they decided to hire a manager that doesn't play beautiful football. I mean, how stupid is that? But anyways, apart from that, Jarrod Bowen scored 1 goal and got 2 assists in 5 fixtures. So that is a very good return. I mean, when you look at their fixtures now for West Ham, I mean, apart from the fact that they've got, a difficult fixture against Spurs and United in 8 and 9. Apart from that, they've got Ipswich, Brentford, Ipswich in that order. And they've also got the likes of Forest and Everton. So I'll be very satisfied about having Jarrod Bowen because I think, like I said, he's going under the radar. He got obviously the assist against Man City, which is, quality. The goal against Crystal Palace and also the assist against Fulham. So, look, even in big games, I wouldn't worry about Jarrod Bowen because, he smashes it. I just think he's going under the radar. Like I've said, not many people are looking at him. Is it worth going for? Now, what I will say again, I have no Man City midfielders either. I've just obviously mentioned before Saka. I have 2.9 million, so obviously I can go from Saka to Salah. But I could also go from Bowen to Foden. That is something I'm looking at. Foden finally came back from Man City came off the bench against Arsenal. He is somebody I've been locked onto for some time because Man City's fixtures, you know, after Newcastle, you could say it's a bit difficult for them to St James Park, but after that, their fixtures are beautiful. So ideally, I want Foden back fit, starting, so I could bring him in. So that's why I'd say to you, if you're doing obviously all this, have some money in your bank, get ready for your Man City midfielder, because Man City, they're always top of the league for a reason. So for me, myself, I always have, at the minute, just one Man City player in my team. Man City absolutely battered the league for the last 7 years, so surely you want more than one asset. So that's why, leave some money in the bank, have your eye on Phil Foden, because I have a feeling, as soon as he starts for Man City again, he's going to be balling yet again. And so then that leads me onto my 3 strikers. Obviously, Erling Haaland's in here. For those who don't own him, you've got to be owning him, man. He's unbelievable. He's now 71% owned. Still not that much really compared to a couple of seasons ago. But my word, I mean, 10 goals already. That is amazing. I mean, no assists, so to show you how greedy he is. But yeah, he's not had a bad game week yet. Unreal. You've got to have him. There's not much more I can say. Great fixtures going forward as well. The other 2 though, so first up, Calvert-Lewin. I mean, let's face it, I'm not confident with this one at all. 6 million, but you can't ignore their fixtures and the fact that Everton have to win. Now, as I'm talking, I've just found out Everton's takeover is going through, so hopefully that will, you know, give everybody in the club a high. So the fixtures next: Crystal Palace, I was going to say Man City then. Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Ipswich, Fulham, Southampton, West Ham, Brentford. What a good run that is for Everton. Especially with the next 2 games being at Goodison Park, they've got to be scoring in those games. They've got to be winning. So it just makes sense really to get Calvert-Lewin in your team. Alongside him, I've gone for Cunha. Now, another player playing for a team that's had a terrible, terrible start to the season. But you've got to say they've had to play the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea. Forest is more of a derby game, which was never going to be easy. Drew that. Newcastle and Villa. That is a horrible start. And obviously they've got Liverpool coming up in game week 6. But then after that, ignoring Man City in game week 8, Brentford, Brighton, Palace, Southampton, Fulham, Bournemouth, Everton, West Ham, Ipswich and Leicester. That takes you right up to game week 17 where they play Leicester. So game week 18 is Boxing Day. So look, Cunha is an absolute quality player. He did brilliant last season, getting 12 goals and 7 assists. He's already got 2 goals this season in a season that's been pretty bad for Wolves. He's their main man. He's the guy the guy they're looking for. It's only 6.5 million, 2.3% owned. Nobody's looking at him so far because obviously how bad Wolves got on, but he's just scored again against Aston Villa. Look, yeah, his quality, you've got to be really looking at him. He's somebody I've got my eye on, and you know, the fact that he's so low, well, barely owned. Not many people are really looking at strikers as well, just because, you know, Erling Haaland smashing, everybody else has been a bit meh, which obviously, I mean, it doesn't matter, he's got 10 goals, everybody else has got a couple, but somebody you've got to be looking at putting your team in your wildcard team anyway, because I reckon he could absolutely storm it soon. So yeah, that is my wildcard team that I would recommend doing ahead of Game Week 6. Let me know what you think of this wildcard team. I really like it. I like the different options in this team. Look, yeah, I've mentioned obviously the likes of no Salah, you know, not a lot of Man City players. You know, there's no United players because I don't think they're really that good enough. But you know, you got double Arsenal. You could go triple if you wanted to, because obviously the money in the bank. But yeah, let me know what you think of this team, and let me know what your team is going to be for Game Week 6. Are you going to be wildcarding in Game Week 6, or are you going to be just using your transfers? Let me know, and please as well, before you go, don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe, and I'll see you all on the next one.